Alright, so what we're doing today is we're doing a flush and fill on the Radiator. This is a 2012 Ford Focus. They all have the same motor, unless you get an ST. It's a 2-liter. It's a pretty straightforward process. First thing you want to do, make sure you get your Motorcraft fluid, because if you're not draining the entire system, you really need to match the fluid. You should use OEM anyway. This is VC-3-B, which is concentrated, so we're going to dilute it with distilled water. So distilled water under $1 at the store, very simple. What I usually do is I'll go in the kitchen and steal my wife's pitcher, pour out 2 quarts out of the water, and then fill it up on the distilled water. We'll be using that one initially. This here also has a indicator of how much is left. So there's 2 quarts in here, so we're going to put the rest of this into that container, shake it up. That will store for the future. This car has around 70,000 miles, so we're not going to worry too much about doing a complete flush. If you get a vehicle and you don't know the history, I'd really recommend that you do a full flush, and it's a little more involved process, which we're not going to cover today. But alright, so we want to get the car up on jack stands. I just, because I'm paranoid, I'll use a backup jack, but use just the pinch wells in the bottom to jack the car up and put a jack stand on. You want it high enough to work under, and then take your, like you're doing a oil change, you have to take your splash shield off, and they all have these hex bolts on them. There's only a couple. They don't take long. I don't know why everybody complains about them. Yours might be a little shredded from driving. I got a piece that's broken, but it's still on there, so we're going to take that off. And then one other note before I forget, make sure that your funnels, you have a dedicated one for coolant, like you're not pouring coolant down your oil funnel or whatever. So just make sure you do that, because you don't want to contaminate the stuff. So I'm going to get that guard off, and then I'll show you where to drain it from. And of course, you'll need to take off the reservoir cap. This one seems to have a closed system, so you don't need to mess with the radiator at all. So that's already open. If you look at your cap over here, mine had some gunk in the middle there. I cleaned it out, but it doesn't look too bad. So, alright, so here we are under the car. Just for reference, here's your oil filter. So here's your radiator, and that red thing right there is going to be our drain. So we're just going to put a flathead on it and turn it. You might be able to do it by hand, but have your pan ready and have some cardboard or something. This is probably going to get everywhere. It's a good chance it's going to hit the splash guard, the wind deflector here, and go everywhere. So just be ready for that. It still looks really good, and it smells like corn. You can see it's going everywhere, so I got 2 containers here to catch it, and then we'll let it go. And obviously it doesn't matter what you pour it into, because it's going to be getting recycled anyway. Just make sure they're clean, because if you're recycling coolant, you don't want oil and stuff in there. So these aren't too bad. I got a leak over here, which I'm going to catch with something. There we go. It's like a leaky roof under here. Alright, I'm just going to let that go. Onto our coolant tank. I noticed it's got some crud in it, even though it's drained. I'm going to try to get it out, maybe rinse it out. There appears to be 2 clips, one here and one in the back. You can feel it. It's not hard to get to. I'm assuming all this stuff just pops off. So I'm just going to take it out and clean it, just to make it look a little better, because there's some gum up in there. There's still some coolant in there too I'd like to get out. Alright, for our last step, we're going to fill up the reservoir to the between the minimum and maximum line. I don't think going to take all that much. And then obviously watch for leaks. And it's going to drain into the radiator. Keep pouring so you don't get any air sucked in there. And you can see it's bubbling already. So there shouldn't really be any air in there since we just drained it. It's probably going to work out a little bit, but it doesn't say in the Ford manual to leave the cap off. Basically what it says is just in a shop situation, you just like raise the RPMs, let it get warm, check the level. And then obviously when you're done, keep checking the level for the next couple of days, make sure it's where it should be. You don't want it dropping, you don't want it overheating. I'm probably going to drive around the block because I live in a community, and I'll be like, you know, a couple hundred feet from home. That way I can get it warmed up quicker, but some people have reported losing coolant, and some people have reported none at all. If you look here, we definitely used probably around a quart and a half, so that's not a bad flush. I don't know what the whole system takes, but it's probably not that much. You want to look for leaks down here. This drain cock does not have a lot of movement. It doesn't come out a lot, so clean up all your gunk there before you start driving, and leave the splash guard off to check the leaks. This is the ending to the coolant drain and fill video. My levels didn't change. I let the motor warm up a fair amount, revved it up. The level didn't change, the temperature's fine. Double check for leaks, touch the bottom of the drain cock, there's no liquid or anything. So I'm going to put the butt and the car all back together, drive around a little bit, and I'm going to assume we're going to have nothing happen, so that's going to be the end of it. Just keep an eye, make sure your level doesn't go under here. This is where it's going to start sucking air in, so keep an eye on it. The next couple days, every time you get out of the car, lift up the hood and look. It takes just a couple seconds. And then last, don't forget, situations like this, label this as coolant, do not drink. Somebody's going to come out here and think this is fruit punch, and that would be a very bad situation. So I'm going to grab a marker and label that, put that with all my other fluids. You know, not to think that's going to happen, but people aren't the smartest sometimes. So thanks for watching the video. In the future, I'm probably going to be doing this motor mount and the rear one, or the one back there. This one I think is kind of worn, and I'm looking here. It looks just like road crust, but the thing shakes a lot idle, and I'm pretty sure that's the culprit. I'm going to get aftermarket ones because I heard the Ford one stinks, so I'm going to be doing that one and that one. So maybe next couple months we'll see what happens. And thanks.